Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to our channel, and thanks for logging on. If you enjoy these videos, do me a favor and subscribe to our YouTube channel right here at Watchbox Reviews. I would really appreciate it, and I promise to update daily. If you like this watch, you can purchase it on our website, thewatchbox.com. Today we're discussing a gentle giant. This is the Omega Seamaster Professional Planet Ocean Chronograph. Latest generation, this one's a master chronometer featuring caliber 9900. I have to say that some watches that are oversized in design are brutal on the wrist. The Planet Ocean has been a gentle giant, a big watch that wears small. This one in grade 5 titanium is feather light for something 45.5 millimeters in diameter, and that's not including crown guard, chronograph pushers, or helium escape valve. It is a thick watch though, towering over the wrist at 19.2 millimeters thick. This truly is a professional grade dive watch. The look and the stack height, both very aggressive on the wrist. That said, across the wrist, it is surprisingly compact. You're going to find that this one is 52.3 millimeters from lug to lug, but I have no problem wearing it on my wrist. It will fit, if perhaps not appear proportional, on a wrist as small as 15 centimeters in circumference. Mine is 16. You get a good sense of the watch across the wrist from this angle. It fits, it's comfortable, it's good looking, and the bracelet wears a treat. Let's take a quick look at this bracelet because I don't want it to be mistaken for a Rolex 3-link Oyster. It does have a bit more nuance about it. You can see there's a little bit of a stagger between the asymmetrically sized 3 links. The outer links are not exactly hinged at the midpoint of each intermediate. I like that staggered profile. I like the fact that there is a little bit of a tuck and a taper atop, so you can see there's a little bit of a rounded profile where they join each other. It's not as squared off as a Rolex Oyster. Moreover, in profile, you can see it maintains a satin finish. Everything about this watch, with the exception of the bezel lip and the bevels, muted satin, anti-glare, practical. You can see on the underside big gaps to avoid pinching skin, pulling hair, as well as to ventilate the wrist on a hot day. There's plenty of daylight showing through. The clasp is a nicely made piece. You can see it is very solid. Much like its steel counterparts on the Seamaster 300 meters, this is a confidence-inspiring component because, first of all, it's machined from a solid. So it's like a solid ingot of titanium that's become the clasp rather than something stamped into form. Second, the single swing arm likewise is machined and very solid. Finally, there's a lot going on internally. You have an all-or-nothing extension which features high-tech ceramic pin snaps. Note the degree of attention to detail to maintain the tight tolerances over time. But you've also got a push-button slider, and you have 9.6 millimeters of incremental adjustment length, so you can size this thing to suit using the push-button slider. It's not just about the dive extension. That has practicality when you're simply trying to fine-tune as your wrist may expand or contract in hot weather. Now, of course, conforming profile end links create a handsome aesthetic, but they often result in flare and fight. They're bad for small wrists. That's why Omega has a hinged profile, so that even though you do have a conforming profile to square up the bracelet against the case flank, nevertheless, it doesn't flare out beyond the lug. So ergonomically, that's an excellent design. Helium Escape, you can see thoughtful detailing with polished raised letters and then a matte blasted crown top. It's used to release helium that may build up inside the watch during saturation dives in exotic oxygen mixtures. I should also mention that most people will never use this. If you're breathing exotic gas, you know if you need that. If you're not breathing exotic gas, you know you don't need it. But it's fun to get more than you need. You'll note that the polish of the profile, a product of the grade 5 titanium of the case. Grade 2 stuff is relatively soft, easy to dent, easy to scratch. It really can't be polished. Grade 5 can, and grade 5 generally is going to be harder and more scratch resistant than most steels. The bezel is nicely made, polished knurling on the outside. It has a wonderfully chunky ratchet and a satisfying report and ratchet sound. You line up the luminescent pearl with the broad arrow minute hand, and now you can time 2 events. One with the chronograph, you can see overlapping chronograph minutes and hours, and one using the 0 to 60 minute scale. I find it's easier to read the dive bezel. Even when you're a ground-bound and landlocked diver, you can find ways to use a dive bezel to time intervals. I always used to time the amount of minutes remaining in tests when I was in college. I had a dive bezel. That's how I used it. I never once took the watch diving. Ceramic inserts with the exception of the first 15 minutes, but I have yet to see one of these rubber inserts discolor or delaminate in 4 years of seeing rubber inserts on bezels. As far as I'm concerned, they're as durable as the ceramic You'll also note that the watch has a couple of cues that are inspired by the history of the old Seamaster 300s from the 50s and 60s. That's where those orange accents come from, before the Seamaster 300, not the 300-meter diver, but the Seamaster 300s. The Planet Oceans were considered to be the standard bearer for historically inspired style in the Omega dive watch line, and they still have a little bit of that. The dial itself is also made of grade 5 titanium, albeit media blasted. Let's give ourselves a bit more light, get as close as we can. You can see that there is a textured grain or a pebbly opaline surfacing to that titanium dial. You'll also note that the indices, as well as the hands at center, are oxidized, darkened white gold. As on the Omega Speedmaster of the Moon series, the Planet Ocean is considered the model line or model family flagship. Therefore you have the white gold appliques that resist tarnishing and oxidation over time. You get that vintage-inspired twin register dial thanks to the mono counter with the minutes and the hours on a single coaxial register at 3. You reset it and it looks like it's a conventional twin register. Date at 6 o'clock. There will be a loom shot, so stay tuned for that. But date at 6 o'clock, and there is a time zone function. So if you remember the old caliber 9300, the first of the 8500 base coaxial chronos, this one continues the use of the time zone feature, so you can have the chronograph running, constant seconds continue to advance, you're not affecting the minute hand. You can set the watch forward or backwards, driving the date either direction. Even if you're crossing the international date line, you have that function, and you can adjust your time zone as you move. Now you can also pull the crown out and stop the watch altogether. It still has hacking seconds. The watch has a caliber 9900, which is the master coaxial, successor to the old 9300. What's the difference? Well, it's still a COSC certified Swiss chronometer, but it now undergoes what Omega calls the METAS test. It's administered by Omega under the auspices of the Swiss Federal Institute of Metrology. They take a look at the process, and in conjunction with Omega, they have created something that is a test of the fully cased up watch involving resistances, magnetic, water, chronometric precision, testing in 6 positions rather than the COSC 5, winding efficiency, power reserve, everything is baked into the METAS test. Omega even built a new factory to construct METAS certified watches. That said, it still has all of the original features we loved from the 9300, such as the twin mainspring barrels in series for long power reserve and even torque release from maximum wind to minimum wind. 60-hour power reserve at max. It still beats away at 25,200 vibrations per hour. It still features a SI-14 silicon hairspring, anti-magnetic to over 15,000 Gauss. It's effectively amagnetic. Full balance bridge with a free-sprung index for shock resistance. It features a column wheel vertical clutch tandem, and you can see the column wheel underneath its skeletonized portion of the bridges. It makes for crisp actuation, and you will note, though this watch is water resistant to 600 meters, nevertheless, it uses conventional chronograph pushers. They're not screw downs, they're shouldered, so they look like screw downs, but they operate as conventional, always ready push down chronograph pushers. I'll also mention, since the crown is out, that this watch has the most impressive stem tube assembly I've ever encountered. The Planet Oceans are very solid. Some beefy looking watches with mega size and aggressive movement architectures, full bridge, free sprung, silicon hairspring. Nevertheless, you pull the crown out and you feel like it's about to come off. On this watch, it feels like the wheel of an 18-wheeler on the highway. Tough, sturdy, confidence-inspiring. It's what you expect in a luxury sports watch. Handsome, versatile, technically sophisticated, and surprisingly friendly for small wrists. You can see this Omega Seamaster Planet Ocean Chronograph, a master chronometer, and make it yours on the watch box. And I'm back with the master chronometer, Omega Seamaster Professional Planet Ocean 600-meter chrono. This timepiece makes it easy to read the time by night. You will note a robustly calibrated dial with every individual register luminescent. You can even see the constant seconds in the chronograph. That said, for true divers, the only lume that matters is the minute hand and the luminescent pip of the bezel. And thanks to differential lume color, you can see both with ease. See them by the light of day on the watch box.